Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm a librarian from Middle Country Library, and I'm going to go over the summer fruit tray, a take and make program. So what you got in the take and make package is a wood tray, and then you will be getting black paint. I'll just show you right over here. Black paint, red and orange dye, and then green, white, and orange paint. So this is an easy craft, but I will go over the steps to how to create these fruit trays. Just to go over, you will have the option to make a watermelon tray, and if you wanted to, you can make an orange tray, or you can flip it over. I started with this and create an orange tray on one side and a watermelon tray on the other side. So what you're going to do first is paint one of the sides your base color. Do not use the acrylic paint. You will need to use the dye. So, but I got a little ahead of myself, so let's just prep our station first, okay? I would wear a smock, maybe even plastic gloves if you don't want to get your hands dirty. I would take off any jewelry. This will stain. I would put your workstation down with paper or whatever you want. And you will need a pencil, various paint brushes. I would go with a thick brush. You don't have to use foam, but I would use thick for the RIT dye. And then regular paint brushes for the seeding and the rinds, okay? You will also need, that's not included, is finish, an outside glossy clear coat, so you will treat the tray so it doesn't warp. It will warp if you don't do that. So I suggested the Minwax polyacrylic finish. You can get any outside top coat that you want. Just make sure that it's waterproof. And also handles of your choosing. So I just have these basic handles. You will have to drill them, but if you see, it will look like that one finished. You will have to either drill them to put them on. You know, you don't have to if you want to make it a lazy Susan, but like this is how it would be drilled, and you would have it as a tray. So you can get those at you know, a local hardware store, and you know, pick out a handle that you like. So that's the two things that you do to finish the project. So once you have your station all set up and your supplies, you will also need paper towel. So I will tell you why in a minute. So let's go ahead and start with a orange coat, okay? You'll do this with the watermelon coat too. It's the same exact process. For me, it's easier if I just sort of, you know, this is a little too big, so I'll just pour it on. You'll see how it's very liquidy. It's not like regular paint. Then you're just gonna brush it across like so, okay? So just brush it. Make sure you got everything. Now, it is quick drying, but a tip is to make it dry even faster, and to also just even everything out is, hold on, let me just get everything. Oh, see, a little bit will do you. You don't really need a lot of paint for this project. So if you open up your take and make bag and go, oh boy, this isn't enough, I assure you it is, because I just poured a little bit on and you can see it coated everything nicely, and you still have a bit left over. So what you're going to do now is, after you coat it, you're going to take your paper towel and then just sort of do a nice, soft, you know, burnish it. You'll lift up the extra, and then you'll see the nice graining. You see how lovely that looks? And also, it'll just make it dry a little bit faster. So you're going to do that. All right, and I prepped one earlier, so you don't have to wait. So that is how the orange one looks. The orange one is a little bit harder, I think, to do than the watermelon one, because there are sections in it. Okay, so this is the one I did earlier. It's still a little bit wet, so I will go ahead and let that dry a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and work on the watermelon one. So you're going to do the same thing, right? And here's the magic, is that it's done. It's a little darker, but that's fine. So I went ahead and stained this, same exact technique. Pour it on, you brush it, and then you just wipe it down with a paper towel. Let that dry. So, and I would say it would take about 15 to 20 minutes to dry thoroughly. So, you know, you can go ahead and do that. Now, what you're gonna do is, the other parts to the watermelon is you're gonna have the cream rind, the pit, and then you're going to paint the sides green with accent colors, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, that's easiest, is do the cream rind, okay? So you're gonna take the white paint and then go around. So take your pencil, and if you feel comfortable, just go around, and you won't see it once it's painted over, and then just, you know, sketch a guideline, you know, of the width that you would like. So if you have a steady hand and you feel confident doing that, you know, I would say just keep it the same and just go around. You know, it does not have to be perfect, because as we all know, fruit is not perfect, you know. So, and the good thing with the pencil is if you feel like it's, you know, not good, you can erase it or go over it. So, alright, so it's a little thicker, so see? Okay, so, and also, don't throw out your dye, because you can always go over anything more with dye. You know what I mean? And with the varnish and everything, it'll look a lot, you know, more forgiving than you think. So, okay. So there you go. Now I'm going to take a paintbrush, and, you know, you kind of, if you're like me, you kind of, like, the first time you do it, you get a little nervous. So, try not to be too hard on yourself, you know. I'm just going to get a chair just so I have a little more stability. Give me 1 second. Alright, so here we go. Now, easy to do. It just takes time, alright? So we're going to go ahead and then paint the white rind. So you're going to go all the way to the edge, you know, and then try to have a steady hand. And then, you know, and then you're gonna let that dry. And because it's kind of a thin coat, you can, you know, do that. And you'll see when you're doing it, you know, how thick you would like the rind to be. And you can always go over it. So maybe you want to start off a little thinner and then go out a little bit more. If you see a little red going through, don't worry, you can always go over it once the initial coat is dry. So we'll just go ahead and go through. Once you get the first coat on, it's a little bit easier to go over it. So this is the longest one that you're probably going to spend time on. And then you'll see too, once you put the top one on, if there's any areas that need to be filled out a little bit more to make it more even. If you don't like the thickness of it, you can add a little bit more. That's why I always say go a little bit thinner than you think, because you can always add, but you can never subtract really. Well, you can, but it's just, you know, not as easy. So here we go. Now if you're going to do both the orange and the watermelon, which you can do, you're going to just make sure you save enough of the cream for the other design. You should have plenty, But if you feel like, you know, you want more, you can always go, a good trick is going to the dollar store. They have like the smaller size paint, and that will definitely be plenty. And it's either a cotton or cream colored color. You don't want to use white. It's just too contrasting. I mean, you can if that's your choice, but the one I gave you is a cream colored. All right, so as you can see, it is finished. Now I'm going to just go around again and make sure that you know, it's all covered. And like I said, if you feel like you don't like seeing the paint through, give it time to dry, and then put a second coat on. All right. I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I'm just going to even it up a little with the. I don't want to make it too thick. And plus, remember, you will coat it, have the handles on it, and then use it either to have your condiments or napkins, or, you know, you're going to be using it. So it's not going to be just there empty. So if you go like, you know, if there's like one spot that's killing you, remember that there will be things on it. So, you know, don't worry too much about it. Okay, so we just put the white on it, the rind. I'm going to just add a little more to the side. So, so you see how I'm applying it just very easily, using the edge of my brush around, all right? So you don't want to go like this, so just use your brush as a guideline, the edging, all right? So it's good to have nice new brushes. Okay, so here is the orange board. So with this, it's a little harder because you're going to make the rind around, right? But then we're also going to make the sections. So to remind you, it's going to look like this with the white pits, all right? There's no black or green on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same exact process where you're going to make sort of like a guideline for the rind, all right, around. Now the hardest part is going to be the sections, right, guys? So let's just do this real quick. Now you're going to be very light, a light touch on this because it's a lighter shade, so you can see it. You can always erase it, like we said. One good thing about pencils, but I wouldn't go too dark just because it's a little bit lighter of a paint, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna go around, you know, I know some people use the string method in the middle. I tried that, it didn't work out for me, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So basically that is, you know, it's like I forget what it's called, but like not a compass. Compass or a protractor or whatever. So you're gonna put like a tack or something, which also I don't like to do, and put a string, and then, you know, and then go like that with the string, if you know what I'm saying. And go around like that. So now this is the trick with the slice. You're going to go across, right? So this has a nice you know, already has grain on it, so I can just easily, you know, use the grain as a guide, use my pencil and just go across. And I see one right here, right, that's a nice grain. And then in that half, so you're gonna half it, you're gonna divide it into half and then half, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, I think it's, hold on. Oh yeah. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 slices, okay? You see that? So what we're going to do is we're going to half it. You're going to use a thin paintbrush for that. Alright, so we're gonna half. You're gonna want to be a little more precise with this, just because this is something that's very obvious. So you can, and then this one. So I'm gonna use this as a guide. You can always get. Let's get a guide. So just so our edges are straight, right? So I'm not gonna go too nuts with, figuring out if it's the middle. You can, of course, but I'm alright eyeballing it. Alright, so that's about half. And then in that half, you're going to then half it again. But on a diagonal, right? So take your thing. Now this is important to use a pencil because this is when you can erase it. Because this, is a little bit more harder to eyeball. Like that one is off to me that I just did. So, okay. So that's half. So here I go. Then we're just gonna erase that a little. Very lightly, okay guys? That's why it's important to go lightly. And then, yes. Alright. So then I'll redo it. Very lightly. Same thing with this. I'm gonna see, this is the half. Alright. Lightly, and then half it over here. Alright, so now that you kind of have your very light guidelines, you're going to go ahead. The rind you can use the same brush that you use for the watermelon one. So let's go ahead and do that. Same exact technique. You're going to go slow for the first one. I like the watermelon, but if you guys want to stick with the citrus theme, you can always do a lime on the other side too. Just find RIT dye in a nice bright green, and then it would be the same exact thing, except, and you can use the green that we gave you also for the rind, and then I would use the same thing with the pits. That would be fun too. Or you could just go, we got these trays for you guys at a local hardware store, so you can always just get another tray, if you wanted to do 3 trays. You can just find that at this local, hardware store. And just follow the same exact procedures that we are doing here. Like I said, you don't want to rush it. And it's very important to let everything dry between these steps. I know, just for the sake of doing the sample here, it's not as long of a time between each step that I personally would do at home, just because you want everything to dry before each step. So here, you're putting the rind on, I would, wait a good 15 minutes before you put the second coat on, but for, the example here, I'm just going over it again, but to get that nice, coat that you want, I would do that, and then you can really see how it looks. So, that's what I would do. And it's important because then things won't smudge. You know everything is nice and dry before you put any other coats on. So the whole process will be probably a few hours just to prep everything properly, to put your guidelines on. You don't want to rush those kind of things. And it should be enjoyable. I would, just get a nice drink, put on some music. Maybe watch this first before you do anything, so you know what I mean, and then go ahead and then do it and then relax. So here we go. Okay. So now I went down, you see with the rind here, right? I went down on the sides. So just so you know, the sides are gonna be orange. So we're gonna cover up the cream, you know, that I just put down. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'll put a second coat on, but for now I just wanna go and show you how to make the slices. So you're gonna find your middle, and you're gonna take the same exact cream, ooh, I just put my hand in it. And then we're gonna just go ahead and put a little, you know, circle. Now you're gonna want a steady hand for this. So if, you know, sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes like if I'm trying to be really steady, I'll like get nervous and then move. So if you're like me and you do that, you know, it's okay. So just go a little extra slower, you know. No one is perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and then, so you're gonna take your paint and then we're gonna go ahead and draw. This is where I kind of get nervous. Alright, so I don't like it too thick. The sample I made before, and it's a good thing that I make the mistake so you guys don't have to. I made the rinds a little too thick. So I'm gonna go a little bit thinner on here. Like I said, that is one of the things I found out, is to always go thinner, because that way you can go thicker if you like, but you can never go thinner after you go thick. So let's go. All right, so the next one is going to be this way and then this way. Let's go ahead and finish this. I'm going to just go ahead and move this. Remember, it's wet on the side, so like I said, you know, if you do this at home, wait till make sure everything dries. It just makes it easier. All right, so let's center it here. Now, if you feel like you're not using your guidelines, you can always go over it again and erase it, or just take a little dab of that orange and restain it. But just make sure you use a paper towel just to even out the coats, okay? Okay, so here we go. So the sectionals are done. We're going to put the pits on. You can do 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, or however you like. So what you can do is you're going to use the thin paintbrush again. Same color for the cream. I'm going to wipe off the excess on my paper here. And you use a light amount, right? And then you're just going to put, you know, make it look like a little pit. And that is it. So I'm going to do that. It's very simple. Like I said, go small and then you can make them bigger, okay? So here we go. And then, you know, you go on the bottom. You can even do 4. You know, I would even maybe use a thinner paintbrush next time I do this. This is the first round. I'm going to go over the lines a little bit more once they dry, so it's just a little more even. But you guys, just wanted to go over the steps with you to help you. Alright, so there we go. Let's just, you know, make it look like a little pit. You don't want to make them circular. We're going to want to make them more like a teardrop, okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and said, there's no rush when you guys do this. So, you know, you take your time between each one. See, sometimes it's easier if you put a little on your brush and then, you know, wipe it down and get nice fresh one. Okay. One more. Now the last step, like I said, you're gonna wait for everything to dry, is then to put the orange rind on your side. So while this dries, you know, I don't have to show you, but it'll look like that. So you're just gonna take the orange paint, the paint, not the dye, and then put that around the sides, okay? And then voila, you are done. You just put the, you know, outside coat on and the handles, and you are all set. Now for the watermelon one, it's a little bit easier. Let's go to that one. It is a lot simpler. I'm not gonna go over everything because it's the same exact steps, guys. So you're gonna put the rind on the outside, and then you're gonna let that dry, put another coat on, and then you're going to put the green side on, and then you're going to mix a little bit of green with the white and then put the stripes on, and then you're going to do the black seeds for this, and that is it. You don't have to put sectionals or anything like that, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. Sara at Middle Country Library. So my email is Sara, F as in Frank, ADESARA at mcplibrary.org. You can always call the library and ask to speak to me, and I will be happy to go over anything with you. So, you know, this is the one that we did. So what you would do, if you do the sides, what I was going to finish up doing is do half orange, half green, you know, and then do that way. So what you're going to do, just to show you real quick, is you're going to take the green and then just go over on the side like that. So it's a nice watermelon, right? Just on the edges. Same exact technique as the rind, except it's on the side. All right. And then you're going to take a little bit of white with the green, mix it up. So it's a nice light one. And then, you know, you let it dry, of course, but then make a stripe down the side. All right. So that is how you do it. Of course, it's going to look a little bit neater because you're going to let it dry and not do what I just did, which was rush. And that is it. And then you're going to put the black seeds, and that is it. So, you know, this will be the finished project, you know, and I hope you like it. If you have any questions, please give us a call. And, you know, watch this video over if you need to go over any steps. But that is it. Thank you so much for doing this craft with me, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye.